Hey there, garden friends. Welcome back to Field Tripping. I'm on a little field trip to the back orchard at our school, and I noticed a couple of suckers out here that don't belong. Look at the top of this orange tree. I believe this is a Washington navel that we planted a while back, or it could be a Valencia. I forget. Maybe a Washington navel. And you see the tallest branches. I'm like, wow, this tree is doing great. Look how healthy she is. She is just taking off. I'm so happy with myself, pat myself on the back, and I'm like, wait a minute. I get in here closer. And I'm like, those aren't even good branches. Those are what we call suckers. If you've watched my channel before, you know I'm all about pruning citrus the right way, and getting rid of those suckers is one of the things you start with. But look how tall these are. And I thought that I had dealt with these a while back when I pruned last summer or last early spring. And I didn't realize, and I thought I had got rid of all of them. But look, I'm gonna follow them down to the base. You can see where they're coming. They actually are almost coming up nearly out of the ground, right above the root system, but below the graft. And so those don't belong. They absolutely don't belong. You can see there's actually, even just their presence there is kind of creating an emptiness in the canopy right here. So I'm gonna use my handy dandy curved hand saw to get in there and cut these back. Make sure you protect your eyes, protect your hands, because oftentimes these suckers on these citrus trees will have these massive thorns on there, sometimes smaller, but you can see a few, and they're really, really sharp, sharp as needles, especially these ones that are established. This sucker, usually a lot of folks at home, when they cut their suckers, they might look more like that, where it's a small one, it's green, it's kind of tender, and they get to it young. But look at this one. I've waited so long that it's thick and lignified and woody. So it's time to get in there, and I'm gonna cut them back. I'm not just gonna trim them back a little bit. I am gonna cut them back as far back as I possibly can, right where they meet, right where they start, right where they meet either the ground or the root system, right where they pop out of that trunk. And so it's time to get in there. Let's do it. Garden friends, well, I'm in a really weird position, and I'm down here, but I got my wonderful tool, this little curved handsaw, and it works great for branches such as these. So I'm gonna get in here, but the trick is I really don't want this limb to fall on me, so I'm gonna make sure that I cut it away from myself, because it's a pretty good sized limb, and it's covered in some pretty gnarly thorns. So with this handsaw, the trick is just back and forth. It doesn't take a lot of strength, which I love because I'm not that strong. And so I'm just gonna get in here, and it's just that back and forth friction, and it lets the teeth do all the work. If you're afraid,
you probably have to edit a little bit of it.
So one good aspect of cutting out those suckers is sometimes you reveal some other branches that might need to be cut, or some other suckers that need to go.
I got this one.
Okay, I'm gonna cut that one. There we go. All right, so the one we got to cut right now is right here. Look at that one. No, not that little guy, that big one. That's actually a sucker branch. And usually you see them coming out of, usually you see them come out of the base of the trunk. This one looks like it's just coming up out of the soil, but we got to cut it anyways.
I got the camera.
I got it.
Then I got the branch.
All right, 3, 2, 1, it's gonna be cut. Oh man. Here, push it back a little bit. There we go. Open that up. There we go. It actually smells like citrus as you cut it. It smells kind of like lemons. All right, that's it. So I'm gonna pull back and let's take a look at what we did. All right, so our suckers are removed. Look how large these suckers are. We might have to measure them, but I'm gonna go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 14 to 15 feet in length. They are massive. And so they were never going to produce any fruit for us, right? They weren't going to do anything good for those trees. They actually just suck the energy out of the plant. They take up space. They were kind of creating a little empty spot on the tree where it had no healthy branches. So here's some smaller ones we took from the neighboring orange tree earlier in the week. You can see its leaves are now dried up, but they're really big. The leaves usually don't match the rest of the tree. The look of the branch doesn't match the rest of the tree, and oftentimes you can see here, look at the thorns on there. Look at, just to show you how big that is. Put my hand in there.
Thorns on this one, then.
They're about 2 to 3 inches long. This one also has some thorns, thank you, sir. They're real thick and a little bit stubbier, but just incredible. So it's nice. I feel, you know, I'm a bad gardener. Shame on me for letting these go for so long. But really, you know what, there's no better day to do it than the day you notice it. I wish I would have saw these earlier, but you know, they grow really fast. You'd be shocked at how fast they grow. and then kind of overtake a portion of your tree. So if you've got suckers at home, consider getting those removed. Remove them all the way down to their base if you can. If you need help, get some help from somebody who can help. But it's really not that difficult of a task to do if you have the tools. If, like I said, protect your eyes, you're in your hands, because these thorns are gnarly. And if you have to, if you can't take it all down in one cut, do it in several cuts if needed. But really get it out of there, because even though it looked like vibrant, healthy growth and was like shooting up to the sky and made me all excited, I was like, wow, my orange tree's taken off. And it was actually the opposite. The graft was taking off, not the orange tree. And that has to do with how all of our fruit trees are grafted to a root stock. So it's and actually it's so technically one fruit tree that you buy was actually two separate plants at one time. It was a branch off the tree you're growing, and it was a root system that was planted from a seed. And so we don't want that root stock sprouting up and sending off these suckers, because they do nothing beneficial to our tree. They're not helpful to us. So if you got those suckers, get them out of there. I think you'll notice some trees create sucker growth more quickly than others. So oranges, I'll notice a lot. Even some lemons will have a lot of sucker growth. And our crepe myrtles, you've heard me talk about that a lot. And many other trees and bushes. Usually it's trees that like to be bushes or trees that were grafted also put up suckers. But in this case, the suckers were coming from the rootstock, and they were just going to suck the life out of our orange tree and not help at all. So what I'm going to do with these is we're going to chop them up and turn them into compost. That's their job. Oh yeah, so here's an example of a leaf. See, this is a big leaf off one of the suckers, and then a smaller leaf, although it looks a little deformed.
Is a orange leaf.
Yep, off the orange tree. So you can tell the leaves really oftentimes won't match up with the tree that you're taking it from. Sometimes they look pretty similar, but you'll know it's a sucker when it has these gnarly thorns, when its growth looks a bit different, and when it's kind of overtaking some of your tree. But it's also where it comes from. You'll see that it originates from below the graft line. And so when you start seeing that, then you realize, oh, these are suckers. Let's get rid of them. So there you go. That's my garden tip of the day. When you got your orange trees, your lemon trees, don't let the suckers take over. They don't belong there. Get rid of them. All right, garden friends, best wishes to you. I hope you're doing great. Happy Friday. Happy gardening to you all. And please never stop growing.